King Richard's Love for English Soil, from King Richard II by William Shakespeare, out of the book of Patriotism, part of the Young Folks Library, volume 18. The coast of Wales, a castle in view. Drums flourish and colours. Enter King Richard, the Bishop of Carlisle, Amerley, and soldiers. King Richard, Barclay Castle, call they this at hand? Amerley, yea, my lord. How brooks your grace the air, after your late tossing on the breaking seas? King Richard, needs must I like it well. I weep for joy to stand upon my kingdom once again. Dear earth, I do salute thee with my hand. Though rebels wound thee with their horses' hoofs, as a long-parted mother with her child plays fondly with her tears and smiles in meeting, so weeping, smiling, greet I thee, my earth, and do thee favors with my royal hands. Feed not thy sovereign's foe, my gentle earth, nor with thy sweets comfort his ravenous sense. But let thy spiders that suck up thy venom and heavy-gated toads lie in their way, doing annoyance to the treacherous feet, which with usurping steps do trample thee. Yield stinging nettles to mine enemies, and when they from thy bosom pluck a flower, guard it, I pray thee, with a lurking adder, whose double tongue may with a mortal touch throw death upon thy sovereign's enemies. Mock not my senseless conjuration, lords. This earth shall have a feeling, and these stones prove armed soldiers, ere her native king shall falter under foul rebellion's arms. Carlyle. Fear not, my lord, that power that made you king hath power to keep you king in spite of all. The means that heaven yields must be embraced and not neglected. Else, if heaven would, and we will not, heaven's offer we refuse, the proffered means of succor and redress. Amerley. He means, my lord, that we are too remiss, whilst Bolingbroke, through our security, grows strong and great in substance and in power. King Richard. Discomfortable cousin, knowest thou not that when the searching eye of heaven is hid behind a globe that lights the lower world, then thieves and robbers range abroad unseen, in murders and in outrage boldly here. But when from under this terrestrial ball he fires the proud tops of the eastern pines, and darts his light through every guilty hole, then murders, treasons, and detested sins, the cloak of night being plucked from off their backs, stand bare and naked, trembling at themselves. So when this thief, this traitor, Bolingbroke, who all this while hath revelled in the night, whilst we were wondering with the antipodes, shall see us rising in our throne, the east, his treasons will sit blushing in his face, not able to endure the sight of day, but self-affrighted tremble at his sin. Not all the water in the rough rude sea can wash the balm off from an anointed king. The breath of worldly men cannot depose the deputy elected by the Lord. For every man that Bolingbroke hath pressed, to lift shrewd steel against our golden crown. God, for his Richard, hath in heavenly pay a glorious angel. Then, if angels fight, weak men must fall, for heaven still guards the right. The State and the States by Rufus Choate, from the oration on American nationality delivered in Boston on the 82nd anniversary of the American independence, July 5th, 1858. Rufus Choate was born at Essex, Massachusetts, October 1st, 1799. He succeeded Daniel Webster in the United States Senate in 1841, was acknowledged leader of the Massachusetts bar, and famous as a forensic orator. He died July 13th, 1859. It is well that in our year, so busy, so secular, so discordant, there comes one day when the word is, and when the emotion is, our country, our whole country, and nothing but our country. The birthday of a nation, old or young, and certainly if young, is a time to think of the means of keeping alive the nation. I do not mean to say, however, because I do not believe, that there is but one way to do this, the direct and the didactic. For at last it is the spirit of the day which we would cherish. It is our great annual national love feast which we keep. And if we rise from it with hearts larger, beating fuller, with feeling purer and warmer for America, what signifies it how frugally, or how richly, or how it was spread, or whether it was a strain on the organ, the trumpet tones of the Declaration, the prayer of the good man, the sympathy of the hour, or what it was which wrought to that end. I do not, therefore, say that such an anniversary is not a time for thanksgiving to God, for gratitude to men, the living and the dead, for tears and thoughts too deep for tears, for eulogy, for exultation, for all the memories, and for all the contrasts which soften and lift up the general mind. I do not say, for example, that to dwell on that one image of progress which is our history, that image so grand, so dazzling, so constant, that stream now flowing so far and swelling into so immense a flood, but which bursts out a small, choked, uncertain spring from the ground at first, that transition from the rock at Plymouth, from the unfortified peninsula at Jamestown, to this America which lays a hand on both the oceans, from that heroic yet feeble folk whose allowance to a man by the day was 5 kernels of corn, for 3 months no corn, or a piece of fish, or a molded remainder biscuit, or a limb of a wild bird, to whom a drought in spring was a fear and a judgment and a call for humiliation before God, who held their breath when a flight of arrows or a war cry broke the innocent sleep or startled the brave watching. From that handful and that want to these millions, whose area is a continent, whose harvests might load the board of famishing nations, for whom a world in arms has no terror, to trace the long series of causes which connected these two contrasted conditions, the providences which ordained and guided a growth so stupendous, the dominant race sober, earnest, constructive, changed, but not degenerate here, the influx of other races assimilating, eloquent and brave, the fusion of all into a new one, the sweet stimulations of liberty, the removal by the whole width of oceans from the establishments of Europe, shaken, tyrannical, or burdened, the healthful virgin world, the universal progress of reason and art, universal as civilization, the aspect of revolutions on the human mind, the expansion of discovery and trade, the developing sentiment of independence, the needful baptism of wars, the brave men, the wise men, the Constitution, the Union, the national life and the feeling of union, which have grown with our growth and strengthened with our strength. I do not say that meditations such as these might not teach or deepen the lesson of the day.